Welcome back, everyone. Sorry for the loss of connection there. Looks like internet was lost in my area. So I want to thank everyone for that's been hanging around and stayed around to continue this. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves. I'm actually learning a lot, and so I'm hoping that you're actually learning a lot about the game, not the gameplay, but the actual story itself, the history of Middle Earth, and also an interesting part of what's been added in by the Lotro team to help flavor it up a little bit. A lot of these areas are actually pretty interesting to take a look at, and kind of, even though some of these areas may not be actually part of the full lore based off of Tolkien, it's still interesting to kind of understand what the developers had in mind when they actually put these areas together. So it's kind of interesting. Again, if you haven't done so already, just feel free to go ahead and follow the Lotro stream here at twitch.tv/Lotro stream. And if you haven't done so already, you can actually follow me here at twitch.tv/ForteMaestro. I'm going to go ahead and throw it here in chat here, so feel free to follow me. While I'm getting loaded in here, how's everyone doing tonight? Enjoying your Friday, or actually, it's a what, Thursday? Yeah, enjoying your Thursday. All right. Been enjoying some a little bit of chocolate chip cookies as we kind of cover all this information here. It's like a kind of still lagging a little bit. I'm wondering where that lag's coming from. It's kind of weird. All right, so we are here at the actual fort itself. Now I was going to go ahead and see if we can go ahead and read up on a little bit about it. It's all right. So we are. Where are we at? There we go. Marshwater Fort. This spider-infested ruin lies at the center of the marshes. It is rumored that the wandering rangers frequent this ancient fortress and has a secret hideout within, so that's what the door is for. And you actually learn that as part of one of the quests. Within its entrance, guarded by a mysterious spider queen. They also keep the ancient altar from decaying too badly, which is what the altar that we had seen. And it's pretty much that's pretty much it. I don't know if this area itself actually existed within Tolkien lore, or is this something that was just added by the developers? So that is the Midgewater Marshes, or the Midgewater Fort. Yeah, Midgewater Fort. So our next area that we can actually end up looking at, oops, is coming down. We can actually take a look at the Goblin Hole Ruins, which is actually a smaller area, which looks like it's just like a pedestal there that I've noticed. But this area here, as you notice, seems to kind of stretch around a little bit. So this is probably like a central court with these arches. It seems like the arches go to a wall, but the wall stops here. So I'm wondering if this is like the edge of the wall, and it had come over here, and this was like just a basic like a gate, like the gate was right here. Interesting. So let's head south. We can take a look at the Goblin Hole, which is over in the corner. which probably was like just a small little fort, or actually was intended for a small little fort. Maybe a stopping location. I mean, not too far from the fort over there to the actual this area here. So it's still a lot of stuff kind of compact together. And you have those pillars over there. The area over there where the goblins are all looks new. So I don't think that was part of the original construction. But then you have this other pedestal over here. So maybe this area over here was for meeting ceremonies or something like that. Or at least that's what the developers intended. And still you have the same basic structure, same basic architecture. And you have the goblin area over here, which probably, I mean, was it obviously is like of their architecture, but it looks like the actual architecture for the actual area here does extend over here, because you actually have those ruins on the hill over there. Now it's like it's really dark once you get inside. So I'm gonna come out of the edge here. It gets gloomy inside of that hole there. Now I'll brighten it a little bit. So, but you can see around it, there is actually walls. You don't see, and you see these over here as well. So it looks like probably the hole was actually part of the construction itself, was intended for the part of the instruction. As it encircles the whole thing, so I'm wondering, so you probably had a lot of stuff stretching between here and where it goes across the actual hill itself. So I thought that was pretty cool to look at. You can't really, I mean, you really don't notice the continuity of all this until you actually look at it. So I thought that kind of ended up being pretty cool. So, based on our map here, I was going to, I'm going to make sure we have sound. We do have sound, okay. But we don't have our music. Where's our music? Our music keeps on stuttering. What's your problem? There we go. So, we are in the Midgewater swamps here. A marsh. So I think what we can do is now we can actually, because I want to wait until we kind of explore all the Bree before we head off into other areas. Because I want to discover Bree, I want to discover the Shire, and then over in Arid Lewin before we head out there. Because I know there's a lot of interesting stuff out there in the Lone Lands and all that, but I want to kind of learn and kind of explore the starting areas first, where everyone starts at, before we go off anywhere else. But, so I say, let's go ahead and head towards Staddle. Good evening, Barafunda! Zedrock is in the house. How you doing tonight? So, let's go and head towards Staddle. See what information we can learn about it. Anyone have any questions or have any any thoughts on what we're seeing? Please feel free to contribute in chat. It's always welcome. It's weird. I'm getting so much lag. I never had this lag here. Maybe I'll reduce some things here. It's still pretty low. Let's try a little bit more. See how that goes. Zedrock in the house! There's actually, some couple other ruins here. So let's go and hop on a horse. And let's head towards Staddle. Wait, is that? Oh, that's the fort. So let's head. Oh, actually, you know what? Before we go to Staddle, there's actually the ruin right here. that we can actually go to, which is actually an important location, the Ostbaranar. So let's head there. Because I know that is actually significance area there. I know it's weird. We're getting this lag. I had just lost my full connection because we had area wide outage for that for a few minutes there. So I think it's contributing to my overall lag here. Well, look at all these. Look at this. We got standing stones. Has anyone ever noticed these standing stones here? It reminds me of standing stones like in Ireland, right? There's nothing written on them. Maybe these are old gravestones, maybe? Substituting. Question. What means subbing for... Shoemaker, which is one of the Lotro streamers, he is not here tonight. He has other things that are occurring. So I am substituting. Yeah, just like what Sam Burke said. Substituting for Shoemaker. But none of these stones have pillars, so I don't know if this has some sort of religious aspect or maybe stones of memory. You know, like you see a lot in Ireland and England and places. So I've actually never seen these. Almost 10 years that I've been playing, I've actually never found this area. That's kind of interesting. See, you learn something every day. It's weird because it's just like this right here, but there's a lot that you don't pay attention to. All right, there you go. There's So while we're here, while we're talking about lore, I believe you can probably see my cursor on the map, but of course, as you all probably know, in the distance there is you have, I believe, I can't remember maybe the shepherd in Middle Earth lore. I can't remember what it was called, but here's Orion in the distance. Because remember, Middle Earth is supposed to be like an ancient history of England and the surrounding area. And so, of course, they have their own mythology of the constellations, but you see the bow of Orion plus the 3 stars of the belt. The top left, see my cursor is kind of offset a little bit. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so you can't, yeah. See, it's kind of offset. But on the left shoulder there is actually Betelgeuse. It's actually a red giant. And the bottom right is Altair, I believe. Now, of course, you have the bow, which is that curved area on the side, or some call it the shield. It's actually facing towards Taurus, the bull. And so if you see the cluster of stars up there, that's actually Pleiades, which is which in Japan they call it Subaru. If you notice, the actual Subaru symbol is actually 7 stars or 6 stars. It's actually 7 stars because one of the stars is like a double, and that is actually the heart of Taurus. And I don't know if you can see it, you can't really tell coloration of these stars because they're all just white dots. But to the left of the the cluster there, one of those stars is supposed to be a red giant, and like a red giant star, and that is Arcturus. Or actually, Arcturus is in Scorpio. Aldebaran. It's Aldebaran. Arcturus is like the big red star in Scorpio, but I think it's probably the like a second biggest star over there. So it's actually the Arcturus is the Aldebaran is the eye of Taurus, and then you have Pleiades, the big cluster there, which is the heart of Taurus. So I thought I've actually never kind of explained parts of this on stream. There's actually, of course, you have over on the left side, you have Gemini, Castor and Pollux and stuff like that. So I've actually been wanting to kind of do a astronomy of Middle Earth kind of stream at some point. But that was kind of a little sneak peek of what I want to eventually do. I want to try to find out why the mouse is kind of offset. Because if you see me circling, which is apparently is supposed to be Pleiades, it's actually to the bottom right of where I'm actually looking at. So it's kind of really offset there. So it's kind of weird. Um, oh, I know why. It's because the I actually when I look at when I create my screen here in the stream here, it actually is offset because it doesn't feel it's just really not too much bigger. It doesn't really fully fit on my screen. So I don't know. So I'll try fixing that sometime and maybe do an astronomy stream, like a Middle Earth astronomy, so you can kind of see the different like objects that are out there and kind of describe it. But if anyone out there wants to kind of follow along with us here, in live in person here in game, I'm actually on the Langeval server. So if anyone wants to come join me as we go around in person and checking out these areas, please feel free to let me know. I'll probably be going on, still be on for maybe another half hour to maybe an hour. So if anyone's interested, let me know. Um, you can either personal message me um, here in chat on Twitch, or you can send a message to Antiquities, and I will post it here. ANTIQU. This the name here is in chat, so feel free to send a message to that name if you're looking to come join us as we're exploring the different structures and lore here. But we are heading on to our next point of interest here, which is actually the fort over here. Where they're not the fort, but the ruin. Ost, I think it's called what? Ost. It is Ost Baronor. Which is this one over here. Which has an object in there of some significance. Again, it's still using the the 7 pointed stars of the Cordelon North Kingdom, and this area is not really as big as the other ones. I know some of the other ones had like the big back areas, but pretty much, I mean, you have the big altar in the middle, like the big open area over here. Again, could have been a place of ceremony or presentation as they, speak to, like maybe the garrison here. Well, while I'm here, I'm gonna get this picture. Um, so it's more big and round. There are some like segregated compartments here, but one of the big important parts here is the statue. If you look here, you actually have a statue that kind of almost looks like the crown, like a game version of the crown that Elisar, that Aragorn Strider was actually wearing in the movie. So I want to go ahead and kind of talk about this structure here. So let me get my information pulled up here. We can take a look. So this is going to be Ost Baranor. Furthest south as well, or furthest south of all as well. Oh, God, I can't speak. Furthest south of all of as well the Chetwood as Bree, north side of Stadel are this ruined fortress found. What the heck kind of wording is that? Recently, Blackvold brigands and evil creatures have settled within the crumbles. Now, here's the lore here. The ruins of Ost Baranor mark the place where yet another tower of the North Kingdom once stood, now faded into memory. The fortress has long since fallen into ruin, and its crumbled walls are now taken, obviously, by the brigands and worse. So there's really not, again, not a lot of said about these areas here. Again, because you really don't see them a lot in in or hear about them at all in probably the Silmarillion or of course, or Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, because they really, I mean, they spend a little bit of time in the local area, but the most of their adventures are off. So these beginning areas here really don't learn a lot about them, but they are still part of history of the Lord of the Rings history or Middle Earth history. Now, but you have this statue here, which again is also part of the history of the Dunedain deed. And the deed information here about it actually says the worn but noble visage engraved on the statue you discovered belongs to Erenarth, the first chieftain of the Dunedain after the fall of Arthedain. The statue was probably created sometime after the wars that destroyed the Old Kingdom, most likely by the rangers who hold Aranarth in great reverence. See, that's why that crown looks familiar, or at least the look of it. It was in good repair, suggesting that they tend to it to this day. The memories of the Dunedain are long, and their respect for the dead borders on obsession at times. So if you notice here, that in the areas where you have names like the Ost and all that, this is actually the first time in any of these deeds that we kind of been over here in this stream that they've actually talked about someone specifically in history. So this is actually looks like the first chieftain of the Dunedain, and it's here hidden in some obscure ruin in some ruin here in Brayland. Again, you look at it, unless you look at the quest lore when you actually read the deeds, who would have guessed this is the chieftain of the first chieftain of the Dunedain? So I thought that was pretty cool that they actually have it here. And so I think, where's our music? Why don't we have our music going? Let's fix our music, right? There we go. That's why it's so not so quiet, so you don't just hear me, right? Because who wants to hear me? All right, so as we're in this area, we have Androth over here. In this area, the Androth area. And then we also have down there the Southgard ruins. Now, I want to look at the map here, because those ruins actually head south somewhere. It actually looks like it heads south towards an area, that little open area down south of the Southgard ruins. It heads south. There's Breland. This probably stops right here. So it actually heads in this area where there's actually nothing there. So there's actually really, I don't think there's really anything on the lore maps of anything that's down here. Because this is Eriador. This has got to be Bree here on the left side. So there's really not a lot here. So if anyone actually knows of anything in lore, of anything in geography that's actually south of here, let me know. Okay, so with that in mind, I do want to go and head over to Androth. I want to see, because again, that is another ruin there that I've actually seen stuff at. So let's go take a look at that after we leave this here, because we don't actually start going through the walls. And let's get out. That is over here. There we go. So there's Bree Town. Bree in the distance. The nice, nice not sun, nice moon in the distance. It looks like probably since we're heading toward the west, it probably. Why is the sun rising? There's the east. Why is it so? Maybe that's just the after, the after sunset. So again, you have a couple other ruins here. Wait, what's this over here? Oh, this is where we're heading towards. Oh wait, this is where we left from, right? Oh, there's actually a back area here. Oh yeah, this is the back area of that same area the same os that we were at. It actually heads up here on the hill. Oh, look at that tower! Holy cow! I really actually never noticed this tower. There's actually two towers there. It looks like the one on the left and one on the back. That's cool. Oh, there's right there. See, guys, see the arch right there? See the stars? If you see the arch, actually, well, isn't that? Oh, that's Orion again. Never mind. That we're looking at Scorpio. So we're gonna kind of run over here, and so we got a couple more ruins here. This here probably looks like some sort of wall of some sort. I think that is heading towards what? That's heading towards... Oh, it's actually heading towards where we want to go. Another wall, so it looks like the wall itself extends all the way over here. Probably connects over here, so there's probably a big defense wall here. With probably a terror pit right there. I wonder if I think it actually connects up with the fort over here. Maybe it doesn't. Because then you have more walls, more straight walls. These are just trees. The other wall, Hellcatch Lake. See, the walls themselves, it looks like this whole area was kind of walled off. All the way along from one side to the other. Going probably through the water as it heads over here to the fort. Or whatever. Where is that? I think you follow it. I think it's over here. Yes. Now this is over in... because we're in Andrath right now. Again, you have another tower. So this is yet again probably like a border fortress for this road here. Because we're actually on, what, the Greenway. So this is actually the southern part of the Greenway. It's kind of... You have kind of a guardhouse over here. Here's our gateway. You got a tower on the left side, and then the central area, central courtyard of some sort. Then you have the upper area, the upper keep. So let's see, you have the oh, it looks like you actually have the back gateway over here. Ouch. Which this is the area that heads south towards an unmapped area. I wish at some point we could actually go through there. It'd be cool to see what's on the other side. If there is, obviously, there's nothing on the other side, obviously, but. So then you have your back towers. I think there's like what? Yeah, there's a way to get up on this other side. More towers. So this is actually more kind of like a castle. An old castle of some sort. And this is like the back area. So this is probably this right here. But let's see, there's no doors. So how do you get in anywhere? So I think maybe the developers forgot to put doors in there. There's actually no doors to get anywhere. So this is probably more shaped like a square. If you look at the map here, I think probably can't see the map. Can't see the shape of it. You can kind of see it on the mini map, but it's more of a square area. So I wanted to see here if we have any lore behind this place. I doubt this is probably just something that was added for decoration of the area. I just want to see if there's actually anything interesting. So we are going to look at, this is the South Guard Southern Brieffields. Let's see what we have. This was, what are we at? This is South Guard Fort, right? This is, yeah, the South Guard Ruins. There we go. Athwart, the Road of Androth. The Road of Androth, these ruins mark the passage from Breland into long abandoned Min Hiriath. Recently, a group of brigands and Val half-orcs from the south who have blocked off the road completely, ambushing any travelers who come too close and the raiding of the neighborhood. Recently, 2 watchers from Bree are assigned to keep an eye on these brigands and to do whatever it takes, and that is within the power to prevent further attacks on the common folk, but also gathering information about their true leaders and purpose. They have climbed uphill and found inside a sheltering tower at the northeastern corner. And this is part of the ruins of Breland. I'm gonna see if there's. Okay, so from the text from the deed itself, it says, of course, the ruins and abode of the vile brigands from the south mark the passage from the Vale of Andrath southwards into the long abandoned Minahiriath. I'm wondering what what Minahiriath is. Because actually, again, you see this stuff on the map, but we actually really don't discover it. It says, Minhiriath is an area between the rivers Barraduin and the lower part of Mithiniathil, the southern regions of Eridor, but not really a land or a kingdom as such. After the split up of the ancient realm of Arnor, this area becomes part of Cordolan. In Lotro, Lord of the Rings Online, the Southgard ruins are taken by Sharky's men and prevent players from entering. I want to see here the Mythinio. Mythinio, known as the Heartwell, is the tongue of man. In the tongue of man is a river that arises in the Misty Mountains, flows through the Aitenmoors. See, this is the same river that's in the Aitenmoors, the one that has the waterfall, and forms the border between the Lonelands and the Troshaws. So that's that long river. Let's look at the map here. That's the long river in the Lonelands. Forms the border between the Loneland. Oh, that's the one that actually the last bridge. That it goes through the last bridge, and the Troshaws. Here, it is crossed by the last bridge. Further south, it joins with the Loudwater. And from this point, the joint river is known as the Grey Flood. I want to see here. I'm going to look on our larger map here. So we have Androth right here. This right here, it's got to be the Brandywine. So it's this river right here, the bigger river. So then you have Breland, where that T is at the bottom, that actually is going into that area that it's talking about. Then that's that second river. So if you follow that river south or north, It takes you. Oh, that's the one. See, that's the river and the Trollshaws. That's the one that you follow to go into Erigion. If you continue north, it takes you into the into the Aetmores. I'm going to click on here. So here is the river, and it continues north through the waterfall, past Eriador's End, and then it ends up here in the Misty Mountains. But again, at some point there, that's where the actual source is. So the river itself starts in the Misty Mountains and flows into the Trollshaws. So there it is. That's actually the river. That's the river in Rivendell. That's the same river that is fed from there. So, but there's two rivers here. You have where the ford is. See, there's the two rivers. So you had the one that's okay. So the northern one. Let me click over here. You actually see it right here. So you have the two of them. The lower one is the one that's in Rivendell. That's been fed from the Misty Mountains, and it's heading south. Hi, how far are you? I'm going to play again and make a Hobbit thief. Is it a good combo? Yeah. I believe a Hobbit actually gets gets the bonuses with the burglar. I haven't done a lot of burgling. I've actually only started one character. Right now, we've actually we have done Archit. We've gone into the Midgewater Marshes, the Chetwood South, and we're now in Androth. And we're just looking at the river itself. This river right here, which is south of us, how it heads up into the Aetmores. So, and then the south one, this is the one that is in Rivendell. The other side of it is the one that goes to the bridge that heads north to the Aetmores, which is this river right here. And then it heads north. So this right here in the northeast of the Aetmores is the river that flows all the way down. So that's actually pretty cool. So it's that area, that open area, is what we're looking at. Very interesting. So that is the area. I wonder if we can see up there. See if we can see past that back area. You probably can't because of the wall. But you can kind of see there in the distance. But there is some land out there. But you really can't see much. And again, I doubt they're ever going to open that area out for for in the future. But you can see kind of back there. There is some stuff out there. So that is this area. Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings too, and again, Lotro tries to encompass, takes as much of the lore from the books and tries to encompass it in here. So that's kind of what we're discovering here. Trying to discover the lore that's been put in here, the structures, the symbols, and kind of get an idea of what we're seeing here. And here we're actually in Androth, or in the ruins in Androth, kind of checking it out. So now that we've done Androth, I think we probably just head north to Bree. So let's go take a look at Bree and see what lore. Again, now we're going to be entering into areas that are well known from the books, and there's going to be a lot more information for them. So now we're going to get to some interesting stuff here. And I kind of want to follow along. Now, once we get to Bree, then we will probably switch over at some point in this series to once we do Bree into to probably go over to the Shire since we're nearby it, and then at some point during this series, then after that, we're going to be going over to Ered Luin, so we can kind of check out that starter area and kind of learn about the lore behind them. But again, there's that same wall that seems to be following all the way down there. And I think that is the same wall, because that in there is the Barrow Downs. And so I think that's the same wall that follows where you actually fight the bandits over here on the side. But it's interesting, there's like one single wall. Okay, maybe this is like the border wall. It's kind of marking like the edge of like the man areas here. Oh, you're currently reading the film. Awesome. We're heading towards Bree right here. Bree is actually where Frodo, Bilbo, Merry, and Pippin head to after they leave the Shire. Basically, if you look here on the map, the Shire's over here, and there is the ferry that they cross, and they head in the book themselves. They actually head over here to Buckland, to Crick Hollow, which is where Bilbo's house was, and that's where they head into the old forest. They meet Tom Bombadil. They go into the Barrow Downs, and eventually get to Bree. And so we are right here on the outskirts of Bree. And we actually, I think they came in probably the south side. Because isn't that Will, what was that? I can't remember what his name. He's actually in the north, I think. Okay, he actually came in from the north, because that's where they actually got the horse from. They got, what, Bill? Yes, see, that's the interesting part. I guess there's some English in there, like Bill and Tom. But I think that's really the only two English names that I've seen that really make their way into Lotro, meaning like, just a standard Tom, Bill. You don't see you see John Brockenbrook. So there's a John in there as well. So there's some non-Middle Earthern versions of the story that you see, or the names that you see in here. So remember when we were talking about those banners? I'm interested since I really haven't see if you look at the banners here, remember? So these are different banners. Then we're over in Combe. That actually looks like almost like a boar up there. So it's obviously of a different faction. I can't remember the faction here. The whole reason is, if anyone can remember the whole reason why where all these banners appeared, and they, I know at some point they had gone through and changed the architecture. But what we're looking for is, I've actually never been in this spot right here. So I was going to kind of read up on some different aspects here of Breetown, because we're technically in Breetown now. And so doing that, we're going to go ahead and head up here to the top where the ruins are, so that way you guys can get like a nice overview map or overview look of the whole town. Hey, Gussie, welcome. Gussie and Moose, send her caboose. Bring your caboose. Gussie on the loose. So let's take a look over here. So now we can kind of see. And we kind of see pretty much the town as a whole off in the distance. That actually looks pretty cool. So I want to kind of read up on a little bit here. Yeah, eventually I want to get the Mordor. Again, I'm working my way across the map. We're starting in the starter areas, and then I'm kind of following the path of the epic. And so that's kind of what I want to follow across, kind of check out those areas as we go. I'll be going in. I want to do, of course, the Shire. I want to do Ered Luin, and then eventually I want to kind of move into the Barrow Downs and all that. Barrow Downs, the forest, old forest, and then work our way into the different areas. But here we are in Breetown, and so I'm going to go and pull up some information up here. Let's see. One of the big piece of information I actually did discover is the fact that pipeweed actually originated in Bree, and the hobbits themselves actually adopted the use of it from the manfolk. So I thought that was pretty cool. Hey. Okay, so Bree. Well, first we're going to talk about Breeland. Breeland is located at the center of Eriador, surrounded by the Shire, Evendem, the North Downs, and the Lone Lands. Breeland and its settlements has managed to remain a thriving outpost of civilization despite the wars and turmoil that destroyed the North Kingdom of the Dunedain. It is said that when men crossed into the west, the town Bree was there. Really? The town Bree was there. And that when the old kings returned, they found the town of Bree waiting. It is the only land in Middle-earth where men and hobbits dwell together in harmony, and is also an important hub for elves and dwarves who are trading goods or traveling from one kingdom to the other. Bree is the capital of Breeland. It is located at the junction of the Royal Great East Road and north-south roads, right at the slopes of Bree Hill, together with the villages of Archet, Combe. We actually missed Staddle. We have to do Staddle. The natural epicenter of Bree is the Prancing Pony, obviously, run by the renowned and somewhat forgetful Tavern Keep, who is celebrated to have the most finest ale in the north, which we all know is Butterbur. Breeland means land around the hill, as Bru, roughly means hill in Old English. Bray, which is Brae in Scottish. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Now, Bree is first mentioned in annuals in the Third Age 1300. So that's like what 1700 plus years prior to where we are now. But then it already existed long since as also the lands wide around the hill. The exact history of Breeland and its capital is not specified by Tolkien. References suggest that the first residents may have been groups of the Edain, really, who did not make it all the way to Beleriand during the First Age, or they may have descended from the Dunlendings. However, both these origins share their roots in ancient families, so existing references are not contradicting. Their characteristics denote the Bree men. That's actually pretty cool. And I think here, I think that's pretty much the main information about Bree. So that's actually pretty cool. So I guess the main big piece of information there is the fact that it existed. Breetown existed here before the men came here, and that the original residents could have been the Edain or the Dunlendings, which I mean they're on the other. Oh, they're what you can find them in like Dunland, yeah, Dunland because they're Londinians, because they could have actually made their way to that area, Barrowland, but they didn't make their way, so they actually settled in this area. So that's actually pretty interesting. So we are looking here in Breeland. It actually goes a long distance over here, and if you haven't been to this area, up above Breeland, you actually have a little ruin up here. It again is still using the 7-pointed stars, and then also the what was it? There's the 5, right? Or the 6? Yeah, the 6 stars surrounding the 7-pointed star. Now there's a couple interesting spots here, interesting things in here. If I don't die by falling, oh, actually, I actually went down there without actually hurting myself. That I wanted to kind of show or kind of point out here. And those of you, I'm not sure how many of you have ever played before or are currently playing, but we have the over here. Yeah, oh, so we're going up this way. We have the through the end gate. And I think where is he at? Because he's down the other side. Up here is actually where we have the prancing pony, guys. This is actually where the hobbits actually ended up staying. This is where they met Strider for the first time. So they actually ended up coming up that road from the actual the Burrow Downs into Breeland up into the Prancing Pony. But if we continue on over here, we were talking about the history of the Dunedain quest, and there's actually one, or the deed itself, and there's actually one of the locations actually founded here, or located here. God, the stream is so much lag. All right, awesome. Glad to see you return. It's actually pretty nice. A lot of the development has occurred. Making our way to no, we're almost I guess hopefully the next update 20 will be at the gate of Mordor. So that's actually going to be pretty cool. So again, if you look here, if you notice in the actual, there was an integration of the architecture, because in here you have like the standard architecture of Breetown. But then you start seeing remnants of Ornorian architecture. And so parts of these areas, like this back area, maybe at some point, here's the altar right here. Here you actually have an altar, but an actual area here of what looks to be one of the old kings. So I wanted to get that here. So we got here in Bree. There we go. And this is the main center for the Bree area, but we have a couple of these quests here. And this, I think this right here is actually part of one of these deeds here. And okay, there's actually some more information here. After the kingdom of Corridon collapsed, after war with Angmar, Bree became an independent city without any central authority or government for many centuries. Not long ago, on Third Age